Welcome to another podcast on using Access. What I'm wanting to show you here is to extend the previous video that I created on using the count function in the total queries, where I count up the number of activities that people engage in. This particular database is counting the number of records for those people who like to participate in these activities from the entire database. But what would happen if I was wanting to be able to use another criteria, and that is dates, to be able to select these records? So what I'm going to do now is to add another table to my query here. I'm going to use the staff table because that actually has some date fields. I'm going to use a field called birth date, and then I'm wanting to be able to write in a criteria. So I'm going to type in a date, the 1st of January 1990, 1st of the 10th 2010. Let's suppose I'm wanting to be able to find all those people who've got birth dates between this first date and the second date. So there's my criteria, making sure that I've got greater than or equal sign there. When I run the query, you see the information laid. But the interesting thing now is to note the dates showing for the birth dates in that criteria, but the number of activities has actually replicated itself. So this bowls item here has been replicated twice, or is referenced twice. Golf appears 3 times, and that's simply because there are individual records, these records here, where people said that they like to engage in these activities. And the birth dates is actually showing the unique birth dates for the individuals in the database. But what would happen if I was wanting to be able to just see the total number of activities for the people who engaged in these particular activities? I don't want to have to go through and count up the number of records or activities individually. So what I can do is to go back into my design mode, and when I choose or go to the birth date field here, I'm going to use an operator called where, which I've talked about before in previous videos. And when I use this where operation or operator, a funny thing happens. The date information disappears, but it actually aggregates or groups the data showing the activities that people like to engage in over that time period, those dates that I've specified in my design. Now, if you're wanting to be able to actually see that information, you'd have to set up, so if you're creating a report, you'd need to be able to specify those dates in the report. But in this very basic and crude total query that I've created, that's actually being able to select those records that fall between those 2 particular periods. And if I was to change this information, say to, let's change the date to 1996 and run, then no one appears because possibly it's too late. If I change that to 86 and run the query, then more information gets displayed. So that's it for using the total queries with count and employing where as the operator to filter on with dates.